What a crazy week of football. My God, we're going to get into that in a second. I just want to talk a little bit more about the Dolphins-Eagles game. And what more is there to say? It is just absolutely crystal clear that this team is just not good. This Eagles team is just not good. The Dolphins, who came into the game with the 31st ranked rushing defense, pretty much shut down the run, or the Eagles just abandoned run. And it's either way, we didn't kill them with the one way that was proven to kill them. I mean, look what Buffalo did to Miami last week. I figured we were going to do better than that. We did half of that. It was just a terrible, terrible loss. Just a terrible loss, but it was a loss that I was expecting. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't like, oh man, how did we lose to this bad team? Like, have you seen the Eagles play all year? There is, as I've said numerous times before, nothing consistently good. And that is exactly what you got. You got consistency in one quarter from the Eagles. The defense played consistently through the game, but offensively, you got one good quarter out of their offense. 16-3 you start off with, and then you score 3 points after that. You're just a bad football team. If you can only score 3 points against a team that frankly isn't much better than you, who frankly, the one reason why they were dragging to the finish to scrape out a win against the Eagles is because they couldn't fall on the numerous fumbles that happened. I mean, oh, God forbid the Dolphins landed on any one of the fumbles the Eagles gave them. But again, that was two bad teams, but no offense to the Dolphins, they came out as the better team. And if you struggle to beat bad teams in this league, like the Dolphins, it makes you wonder, like, okay, what are we going to do against Tampa? Because honestly, I think Tampa's a better team than Miami. So what do we got to look forward to next week? But we'll get to that in the prediction video a little later on this week. Billy Davis, after the game, he said something that I was like, wow, how can the players in the locker room respect him? On that Landry touchdown, the one where Connor Barwin was rushing into Tannehill and he bats the pass out of the air, or out of his throwing motion, comes out, flies into the air like 50 feet up in the air. It's like a punt, like it was like a punt from the 10-yard line. Landry comes down with the touchdown. Now, after the game, they asked Billy Davis, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, about this. How'd you feel about that play, or whatever, what went wrong? He said that the Eagles' defense was primed, and I'm paraphrasing, was primed to get an interception until Connor Barwin batted the ball. Are you serious? You're going to place the blame on Connor Barwin for batting a ball? So what, you're supposed to tell anyone on defense that's rushing in to stop a play from the quarterback, just be careful you don't bat a ball because you might screw up a potential interception that's coming. This is just an example of this team just scraping for some sort of positivity. It's like, yeah, we gave up a knucklehead play because our secondary guys were standing there with their dicks in the breeze while Landry was like, touchdown. Like, just say what it was. It was a terrible play by your defense. Don't say how the defense was going to get the interception. Are you crazy? Give me a fucking break. This team is just so frustrating to watch and follow right now. I can't wait until Shop gets cleaned after this season. Because mark my words, Shop is getting clean. Do you think this team is beating the Lions on Thanksgiving Day? Again, we'll get to that prediction when we get to that prediction, but we got to talk about the Lions this week. Anyways, it was just a terrible loss, but it was a defining loss of what this Eagles season was. They lost to a bad team, which makes you a worse team. And that is echoed so loud and clear right now. Because there's a lot of bad teams in the NFL, especially this year. The Eagles are kind of clustering up near the bottom of that slop right now. Something to think about here, because And I don't want to hear the shit of like, oh, well, the Giants lost, so the Eagles are just as much a shot of winning the NFC East as they ever were. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares if an inconsistent team like this makes the playoffs? Do you really give a fuck? Do you really want them to make the playoffs and solidify the jobs of every single person on this team? This team makes the playoffs, nothing gets changed. Absolutely not a single thing gets changed if this Eagles team makes the playoffs. Not one fucking thing. Other than free agents leaving and free agents getting signed. That's the only thing that'll change on this team. Riley Cooper will still have a job. Chip Kelly will still have a job. Billy Davis, everyone else will have their jobs locked and secure. So I ask you, Eagles fans, do you want to see the same exact thing take the field next year, or do you want to see change? Anyway, let's get into our Week 10 review. Oh, we started off the week with, let's see, I'll go right to Thursday Night Football. What I called the Christmas Bowl with these Color Rush uniforms. Holy shit. My God, here I am doing like clothing review here. By the way, watch the Color Rush uniforms for the Jags this week. Yikes. That is going to, oh my God, they're awful. Anyway, the Jets. Talk about dick teasing a fan base, and that's the theme of this week is dick teasing, because there are so many teams that dick tease their fans into thinking they were actually going to win a game. The Jets had it. Like, they had it. they had a fresh set of downs, stop Buffalo. They can't convert in the red zone with the touchdown. They end up losing 22-17 to Buffalo. Boy, that's just that, and that's a crucial game for. Honestly, I looked at that game as the winner of this game is going to get the final wild card spot in the AFC, and the Jets blew a huge opportunity to do so. I'm just gonna go right into the Monday Night Football game. Houston at Cincinnati. At Cincinnati, playing a bad Houston Texans team. The one thing, I can almost forgive Cincinnati if they lost, but the one thing you can't do when you're coming in as an unbeaten powerhouse is not even put up a touchdown in the game. They scored 6 points at home. 6 points against the Texans. Now, granted, Cincinnati's defense looked just fine. They held a team to 10 points. You can't. The defense did their part, but 6 points. 6 points. This is yet again one of those big reasons why Andy Dalton and the Bengals will never get taken seriously, because they have these fucking stinkers that just stick out and go, There's no way a good team that is going to make noise is going to put 6 points up at home against a bad football team. Like, my confidence in Cincinnati is totally shook right now. Like, this is a team where I'm looking at this, it's like, they're 8-1. They'll get bounced in the first round. After seeing a game like this, I go, they're no better than the teams I saw the past several years with Andy Dalton. They'll get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Like, my God, Cincinnati. You had a chance to shine on a primetime stage and you blew it. You blew it big time. What a shit offensive performance. Miami beat the Eagles. We already went over that. And dick teasing again. Baltimore loses to Jacksonville at home 22-20. Baltimore is... I mean, you lose a game with a field goal that you give up with no time remaining, a 53-yard field goal to Jacksonville. But it's almost as if in Baltimore, you gotta feel that there is so much hope going into next season, because they've lost every single game this year. Granted, they only have 2 wins, but they've lost every single game this year by 8 points or less. 1 scoring drive. 8 points or less. And they're going to come away with a top 5 draft pick. Folks, I got to tell you, in Baltimore, I would actually feel kind of good, because there is something more to just wins and losses. there's losing and getting blown the fuck out, and there's losing and losing close that can actually account for something. Because this team isn't that far off from being above 500. I mean, they make a big free agent move and find a big stud to put on this team in the top 5 in the draft. They're going to be just as back in it as they ever were in their Super Bowl seasons. I wouldn't even sweat this season all that much at all, Baltimore. I really wouldn't. Speaking of 2-point losses, the Detroit Lions haven't won in Green Bay since Barry Sanders was playing for the Lions. And not only that, since Barry Sanders' 3rd season in the league, since 1991. It's been that fucking long since Detroit has won in Green Bay. And this is a 1-win Detroit Lions team coming into Green Bay against a Green Bay team that has lost back-to-back games. And there is everything for Green Bay to play for right now. Because if Minnesota wins, they take over first place in the NFC North. Something that a lot of people didn't see coming, even though I told you that Minnesota was a playoff team starting the season. Anyway, I am so shook because I honest to God thought that Aaron Rodgers was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It's like, I mean, you could use the excuse that there's injuries, especially at wide receiver, but this is Aaron fucking Rodgers. This is a guy that pretty much beat the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship last year on one leg. Yeah, I know, it was an onside kick, and that was recovered. All stuff that Aaron Rodgers can't, accomplish himself. But this is a guy that went into the NFC Championship game last year on one fucking leg and damn near won it by his lonesome. But man, what the fuck, Green Bay? What the fuck? This is terrible. That is a gut-wrenching loss. And Mr. Just Relax, you can't tell me to relax right now because, man, you got to start coming out like fucking gangbusters to get confidence back for you. Because losing 3 games in a row, and I even sent this message out on Twitter. I said, what is more disappointing? This kind of spoils another result that's coming, but you probably already know what happened. What is more disappointing this season? And I asked you guys, and about 150 people voted on this. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers losing 3 games in a row, or Dallas Cowboys without Tony Romo losing 7 games in a row. Now, common logic would tell you it's like well, losing 7 games in a row means you're a pretty bad team. But if you lose 3 games in a row and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, that's inexcusable. And on top of that, it's not like Detroit was playing that good of a game. I mean, you held them to 18 points. And I saw 53 and outs, and Detroit looked like shit, and they still won the game. They were the better team, but they won the game. It's not saying they look great. But Aaron Rodgers lost. He lost his 3rd game in a row. This year is just got my mind spinning. Oh, and by the way, the people saying how bad my picks did last week, oh, I would love to see what your picks were last week. Don't tell me you had Detroit winning on the road at Lambeau. Give me a break. On top of every other upset that happened. Anyways, let's move this along. Cleveland at Pittsburgh, 30-9. Landry gets his ankle rolled on, gets stepped on, rolls his ankle. And I was like, oh shit, I know Vic's not able to come in, and then Roethlisberger's an emergency quarterback, and then Roethlisberger ends up coming in and sets the record for yardage off the bench as a quarterback. Playing on 1 foot, passes, it was like 390 yards, something like that. It was a lot of yards to come off the bench. And, boy, Pittsburgh sure doesn't look like they've lost a step at all. Oh, and by the way, that flip touchdown, that Brown had where he flipped into the end zone, that was the greatest flip into the end zone. I know a lot of coaches don't want their players flipping, but I just, on a side note, that looked fucking awesome. And to do it against a division opponent, just to be like, fuck you. Anyway, but I know it's the Brownies and all that. But man, you lose Le'Veon Bell. Roethlisberger's playing on 1 foot. 30-9. If that's not a team that doesn't know how to win, I don't know what to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. That is just such that's just a franchise that I'm so envious of, because I'm like, man, look at that. They got excuses to explain why they're losing, but they're winning. And they're smashing people in the fucking mouth. Even that drag-out war they had with the Raiders, they found a way to win that game. Raiders gave them everything they had. Everything. And they found a way to win. And that's what championship squads do. And that's why Ben's got 2 rings on his finger. Chicago at St. Louis. Don't look now, but Chicago, and specifically Jay Cutler, are playing some really good football. Maybe not really good, but at least good. 37-13 doesn't lie. And I know Cutler was the going joke in the league for so many weeks on end, including weeks into this season, but all of a sudden it's like, is Chicago all of a sudden priming to make a move? Because there are so many sub-500 teams that one of them is going to sneak up and take a wild card spot. And I'm like, is Chicago one of those teams? More on this later in the season. I hate having to celebrate this in the loss of my team, but you guys kind of tune in to find my opinion and seek out my opinion on a certain team that plays for the NFC East. I just want to state out first and foremost that I don't think the Eagles are going to finish this season any much better than the Dallas Cowboys, if you want me to be straight up honest with you. But I'll be straight up honest with you and telling you, if my team had a backup quarterback for 7 weeks in a row, they would get at least one fucking win. Tampa Bay. All the Dallas Cowboys had to do was like make one big play on offense, just one play the whole game, and they would have won this game. 10-6. I don't care if Romo is out. In fact, Dallas Cowboy fans have given up on saying, well, Romo was 6 points is 6 points. I don't care if your starting quarterback is Johnny Unitas or Joe Montana in his prime, and he went on the bench and Dickface McGee off the practice squad that can't even hit the broadside of a barn with a football comes in and is quarterback for you. You better get at least more than 6 points against a team that, well, they're the fringe good team right now. I'll give Tampa a little credit here. They're a fringe good team right now. But 10-6. 10-6. You know what the 6 stands for? Stands for 6 feet under, because that's where the season is. Buried in the fucking ground, Dallas. Buried deep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Wake up next year. Bring Romo back in and fuck up your draft pick, Jerry Jones. 6 feet fucking under. Seven in a row. In all honesty, I hate that I'm having to find hope and happiness in seeing the Cowboys fuck up so bad. In all honesty, it doesn't take anything off of how bad my team is doing. I'm really just trying to amp it up to be entertaining here for you guys. It's still pathetic how bad my team is playing, to be real. Carolina, 27-10 over Tennessee. Well, I think it's safe to say Carolina. I think it's safe to say. If I had more faith in Carson Palmer, I would say the Cardinals are the best team in the NFC. And I was like, well, what do you got? They have more losses than Carolina. Carolina is hands down the best team in the NFC. And I know it's just Tennessee and all that, but the thing is they kicked Tennessee right in the mouth. 27-10 is an outright commanding win, and that's what you do against bad teams. And now Carolina is starting to do that now. They're starting to kick the bad teams in the teeth. whereas they were more struggling with that the first half of the season. Still finding a way to win, though. Obviously, since they're undefeated. I've told you guys time and time again, even before this video, that the team that is playing the best football in the NFC East is the Washington Redskins. No one has given them any sort of credit, aside from me and a couple other people, but the majority of the analysts and everything, like, I never hear anyone saying how the NFC East is up for grabs between the Eagles and the Giants. How is everyone missing the consistently good football aside from the Patriots game, but who cares who looks bad against the Patriots right now? They've been playing such consistently good football. I mean, it's not great football by any means, but they've been playing consistently the same tempo, the same quality enough to come away with a win against anyone they've been playing aside from the Patriots. I mean, 47-14? I know it's New Orleans, and New Orleans gives up a ton of fucking points. But you got to be at least halfway proficient on offense to put up 47 points, even if it's against the shittiest defense in the league. That's, by the way, going to break the all-time record for most touchdowns given up. I think they're 3 ahead of the pace right now. My God. I do not look forward to playing Washington again this year. I straight up don't, and I don't think anyone should. I mean, anyone, unless you're the Patriots, the best team in the league, just don't look at Washington as a pushover right now, or else they're going to sneak up and punch you, because they can be competitive with anyone right now the way they're playing. And I get it. I look on paper and I'm like, how is this team coming away with 4 or 5 wins? They have 5 wins? No, 4 wins. They're tied with the Eagles. I'm just like, they're playing with heart. They're playing with heart, and sometimes that pushes a team over the edge right now, because on paper, they're not much of anything. Minnesota at Oakland. Man, I thought Oakland was going to give a tougher run for their money, but Minnesota's just one of those better teams in the NFC, and man, Minnesota's in that mix of, like, you know, being like right there with Arizona as the top teams that are going to be vying for a bye right now. It's like, is Green Bay going to come back up and take it back? Like, anyways, 30-14 Minnesota wins. Next game. Kansas City 29, Denver 13. I'm done repeating the same old shit. If Denver, if you want Peyton Manning, if you Denver fans want Peyton Manning, you think he's going to turn a season around, if you want to blame his bad play on plantar fasciitis or anything like that, if you want to make excuse or anything like that, and just assume he's going to, you know, sit the bench, Osweiler will come in for a few weeks. And I'm tired of hearing all these analysts just say, like, oh, yeah, Peyton just needs to sit the bench for a few weeks. Go ahead, believe that. Believe that. And you will not win a Super Bowl this year, Denver. You will not win a Super Bowl with this quarterback. You can win this Super Bowl. I think with a backup quarterback, maybe not Osweiler, but maybe with a backup quarterback of some caliber that isn't going to be a turnover machine like this is. You can blame a foot injury all you want, but what did he have that severe of a foot injury all year? I mean, let's be fucking real. Those interceptions speak for themselves, and those interceptions have been more consistent than touchdowns have ever been in Peyton Manning's career. I hope Denver leaves him in there, because if that organization was dumb enough to let a selfish fucking prick play for stats, play to break records. Oh, good job breaking the all-time passing yards record this week, Peyton. You completed 5 passes. Oh, no. Was it? Yeah, 5 passes, 4 interceptions. So you completed 9 passes. Too bad 4 of them were to the other team, fuckface. Anyways, I'm done trying to talk sense to Denver fans that think this guy's just going to sit the bench for a week or two and come back. You deserve it. You rooted for him. You laughed in my face when I told you his career was long and done coming off of last season. You fucking deserve to fucking fall this year if you want him on your team. Have fun with Peyton. New England, a real fucking team, led by a real champion that doesn't play for fucking stats. Tom Brady. Oh, excuse me, I said Peyton Manning numerous times. I backtrack every time I take back every time I said the name Peyton Manning. Tom Brady's bitch. Anyways, Tom Brady's bitch got to sit there and watch. Well, actually, the game was going on at the same time, but he should have. Well, actually, he could sit there and watch because he was benched. So hopefully, he went to the locker room after he's benched and he watched his head vampire, Tom Brady, show you how to pull out a win. A gut-wrenching loss for the Giants. It breaks my heart seeing an NFC East team lose. It really does. But I know people want to say, that ODB catch in the end zone should have been a catch, and how the fuck do the Giants not get that interception when Tom Brady throws up that lob that who was it? I forget who it was. But he catches the ball with both hands and then takes one hand off the ball and loses the ball as he's falling to the ground. God, who the fuck was that? No, anyways, what a gut-wrenching loss for the Giants. Because they had that game. They had that game like 10 different ways. And again, the theme of this week was dick teasing. No team dick teased their fans as much as the New York Giants did. My team lost, so who am I to laugh? Who am I to laugh? What? I mean, they had it. They had it. And they give up that long touchdown to Gronk. Oh my God. Oh my God. Giants had that game and they lost it. Anyways, in some ways, I was kind of rooting for the Giants to win because at this point, if something makes the Eagles look bad and puts the gears into motion to get Chip and this team to get changed, then so be it. Then so be it. Now going on to the team that I think is neck and neck, just one notch below the best team in the NFC, which is the Carolina Panthers. The Arizona Cardinals went into Seattle and punched Seattle in the fucking face. 39-32. Arizona got a little sloppy on defense in the second half, but they came back and retook this game when Seattle took all sorts of momentum back in this game. And that's when I was like, yikes, Arizona's exposed. Seattle is going to retake the NFC West. And old Carson Palmer comes back, does the little crotch chop on the sideline to the Seattle fans. When I saw that, I was like, oh boy, this boy's playing with fire this year. That boy's playing with passion. If he stays healthy, I think you might see Carson Palmer do some damage finally in the playoffs and go deep. I think you may actually see him do damage and go deep. Because, man, I thought, you can only fuck your legs up so many times and coming into the season. Well, he's proof of what a quarterback can do after you fuck up your legs multiple times, unlike some guy that wears number 7 on the Eagles that looks about average at best. But that's just me. The byes this week were Atlanta, Indianapolis, San Diego, and San Francisco. I went on way too long with my Week 10 review. Let's blast through the Week 11 review. Oh my God. As if seeing the Jacksonville Jaguars uniforms on Thursday Night Football were bad enough, we got to see them play a bad football team. Tennessee Titans at Jacksonville Jaguars. Who cares? The winner is the team with the baby shit colored dirt uniforms, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tampa at Philadelphia. We'll go over that game a little bit later this week. Wow, back-to-back 1 o'clock games. That's something I haven't seen in a Philly in like 10 fucking years. Indianapolis at Atlanta. Old man Hasselbeck, who, by the way, might I add, is another backup quarterback that came in this year and won for a football team. Matt Hasselbeck, at age 6,032, came in and won a game, unlike the Dallas Cowboys that went through 2 backup quarterbacks and couldn't win a single game over 7 weeks. Anyways, Matt fucking Hasselbeck came out and played with a walker the whole time and still managed to win for the Colts. Won twice, actually. Didn't he? Anyway, who cares? Look for Atlanta to win that. I guess Atlanta. I guess. It's a home game. They're hungry. But they got to put up more than, 10, 12 points. The offense has got to show up. St. Louis at Baltimore. St. Louis. I don't feel confident in that pick at all. Washington at Carolina. Redskins. And I say that with full, utmost confidence. Redskins. Denver at Chicago. I don't care who's quarterback in Denver. Chicago's winning this game. Oakland at Detroit. Detroit just won their Super Bowl. Oakland's winning. Oakland's going to punch them in the fucking mouth. New York Jets at Houston. Jets. They're gonna keep their playoff hopes alive and dick tease their fans that we all know how this is gonna end. They're gonna finish a tie break short of getting the last wild card spot. We all know this. Tony Romo returning to go to Miami and face the Miami Dolphins. First of all, I just want to take time to note that I said last week how I actually picked the Cowboys to win last week against Tampa, in Tampa. I said how you are a special kind of bad if you lose 7 games in a row. If you lose 7 games in a row without your starting quarterback, you are a special kind of bad. Again, I don't care if Dick Cheese McGee, again, comes off the practice squad that can't hit the broadside of a barn, comes in and becomes your quarterback. You lose 7 games in a row, you're just a bad team. How can you say just adding Tony Romo to the mix of this automatically makes them a good team? Well, he's got Dez back and everything. First of all, Dez cost your team the game last week, Dallas. He's got to go up and make a play instead of worrying about push, instead of worrying about doing air push-ups after a play. Was there contact on that play? Yeah, there was. And it's a game of football, and you know what? Dez, I thought, was one of the better wide receivers of the game. One of the better wide receivers of the game is going to go up and make a play like he did in the Green Bay game in the playoffs last year. Instead, he's worried about going, oh, I want to do my air calisthenics right now. Ref, look at me. How many reps, ref? Are you counting off my reps, ref? Come on, ref. That ain't the same, Dez, and frankly, Romo isn't enough to get this team to win. Look for the Dolphins to win at home. Fuck you, Cowboys. Kansas City at San Diego, who gives a shit? Kansas City, and all of a sudden, the team that's 1-5 could potentially be on a 4-game winning streak at 4, and then be at 4-5, or 5-5. One of these sub 500 teams is going to sneak in and get a wild card, and Kansas City is every bit as capable of doing so. Green Bay at Minnesota. Wow, Green Bay, you picked a bad time of the year to come in with a cold streak to this Minnesota team. Weeks ago I would have said Green Bay is absolutely going to win this game, but you cannot pick Green Bay with any sort of confidence, and there's nothing you can point to saying that, oh yeah, Green Bay's going to figure this out and come in and win. I got Minnesota winning this game. San Francisco at Seattle. Seattle's going to win, but at this point, that NFC North is so far out of reach. But again, one of these sub 500 teams, possibly 2, are going to sneak in and get wild card spots. Look for Seattle to win. Cincinnati at Arizona. You expect me to believe in you, Cincinnati, playing the second best team in the NFC? This should have been a game that Cincinnati could have staked their claim in the league so loudly. Even if they just found out a way, even if it was like the 14-10 win over the Texans, I would have been like, sloppy on offense, but they found a way to win the game. And then if you would have went into Arizona and knocked out one of the best teams in the NFC, you'd be riding so sky high, but you're not. 6 points last week. You don't deserve to be predicted to win this game. Arizona wins at home. Monday Night Football to end the week, a big, huge game. I'm looking forward to this game just as a fan of football. A very hot Buffalo Bills team right now going into New England. I think this is the biggest test. Now, granted, the Giants ended up being the biggest test, but just going into it, I didn't predict that the Giants were going to test the Patriots as much as they did last week, but I think going into the week, this is going to be the biggest test for the Patriots to see if they're going to break this year, and they're going to snap and actually lose a game. This Buffalo Bills team is hungry, and they're starting to fire on all cylinders. But Tom Brady is Tom Brady, and I said to you, I'm going to pick Tom Brady and the New England Patriots to win until they prove to me they can lose. except this week. But I'm just kidding. I'm picking the Patriots to win. Anyways, wow, what a week 10 of football that was. Upsets out the wazoo, disappointments out the wazoo, and a Dallas Cowboys streak that went up to 7 games. And Dolphins, I hate you for beating my team, but make my pathetic season of watching my Eagles just a little bit brighter by putting an 8 in a row on the Cowboys. Just so everyone can chime back in saying, well, the Cowboys didn't have... Oh, wait, they had Romo. Anyways, let's not get ahead of ourselves. As always, fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Have a good day. I'm looking forward to week 11. It's going to be fun. Take care, everyone.